In this video, I want to show you how to perform a dirt bike gear shift. What's up guys, I'm Dakota Freeman and welcome to the Rad Adventure Dude channel. It's going to be so important that when we're learning how to ride a dirt bike, we need to learn how to perform a proper dirt bike gear shift. When we're first learning how to perform a dirt bike gear shift, we're going to need to know three of the main controls. We're going to need to know how to use our throttle, our clutch, and our gear shifter. These three controls are how we're going to perform a proper dirt bike gear shift and go through the gears when we're normally riding. When we're first starting on our dirt bike, we're going to have to use the throttle, the clutch, and the gear shifter to actually get the bike going into motion. So when we start up our dirt bike, we should be in neutral. Then we're going to use our throttle, our clutch, and our gear shifter to put the bike in first gear, and then let the clutch out to actually get the bike rolling into motion. So when we're first performing our dirt bike gear shift, we're going to have to let the throttle off and pull in our clutch. Then we can use the gear shifter with our left foot to tap the gear shifter down into first gear. At this point, we're ready to get the bike going into motion, so we are going to let the clutch out until it hits the point of motion on the clutch. The point of motion is when you let the clutch lever out, and eventually you're going to feel where the bike wants to start rolling into motion. This is actually the friction zone of our clutch, and this is when the gears begin to engage. At this point, when we're letting the clutch out, we need to apply a slight bit of throttle to actually get the bike rolling into motion. So as we're letting the clutch out, right when we hit this friction zone and feel the bike moving forward, we then will apply a slight bit of throttle and continue letting the clutch out easily until it's completely released. As soon as you get through this beginning part of the point of motion and you apply a little bit of throttle, you're going to start rolling on your dirt bike. Once you start to roll on your dirt bike, you do not want to just let the clutch out the rest of the way, but you simply want to ease it out until it's completely released. This is going to be important so you don't stall the dirt bike when you're first starting, and this just makes sure that you have the proper amount of throttle on all the way through letting the clutch out. The clutch and the throttle are going to have to be used simultaneously to actually get the bike rolling into motion and to perform a proper dirt bike gear shift for the first time. So practice this over and over and instill it into your riding and really get comfortable with starting the dirt bike using the clutch, the throttle, and the gear shifter. You need to practice this until it's so easy for you that you don't have to think about it anymore, as everything else we do is going to have to start with this difficult process. So if you're a dirt bike beginner, make sure you practice using your clutch and getting used to starting the dirt bike and getting it rolling for the first time. And once you do that, then we're going to start using our dirt bike gear shifter to actually shift up through the gears to go faster on our dirt bikes. If you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, make sure you hit that and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future dirt bike riding tips. Now that we're rolling on our dirt bike, we're actually not going to have to ease the clutch out every single time, but simply all we're going to have to do is let the throttle off and pull in the clutch, and then use your left foot to make your gear shift. Depending on if you're shifting up or shifting down, you're just either going to tap the gear shifter up or you're going to tap the gear shifter down. Since we just started on our dirt bike, we should be shifting up through our gears to get into a higher gear to have more top speed. So we're actually going to use our controls. We're going to let the throttle off. We're going to pull our clutch in. Then we're going to use the gear shifter and tap the gear shifter up with our foot. Using the gear shifter and tapping up is going to put us up into a higher gear, which is going to have more top speed out of the dirt bike. So when we're performing this dirt bike gear shift, we really want to make sure that we have the throttle off and the clutch should always be pulled in. This way it just makes it easiest for our motor to shift through the gears and make sure that we don't accidentally miss a gear putting the dirt bike in neutral. So you should get very comfortable with being able to let the throttle off and to pull the clutch in before you make your gear shift. This is going to make sure that you always get into the right gear that you're going for. You're going to continue going through this process and shifting up through the gears to get into the higher gears. And then when you're ready to start shifting down through the gears, you're just going to do the same order as well, except using the gear shifter to shift down instead of up. You always, no matter what the situation is going to be, you always want to make sure to let the throttle off when you shift your gears. Then if you're ever in a situation where you're in the wrong gear or you go to put the throttle on and there's absolutely no acceleration and the bike almost wants to bog down, you want to make sure that you can shift the dirt bike down to get the RPM level where it needs to be to give you the proper acceleration. if you turn the throttle on and the RPMs are way too high and you have a ton of acceleration but really no top speed to keep going in this gear, you need to actually shift up in the gears to make sure that you have a long enough gear range to have enough top speed out of the gear you're looking for. So continue practicing this and developing your riding, as it's going to be a huge part to make sure we're in the right gear at the right time when performing our dirt bike gear shift. It's going to take time to learn how the RPM level works with the motor, but simply just focus on it as you're riding and you're soon going to be able to hear when you need to make your dirt bike gear shift. So keep working on this as you develop your riding. It's actually going to get easier with time. And when you can go through these gear shifts without having to think about everything that's going on is really when it's going to take you to the next level, because you're starting to instill everything I'm talking about into your riding. The next step of your dirt bike gear shifting is going to be shifting while you're standing up. We need to learn how to stand up when we're shifting through our gears to actually be able to ride the best way we possibly can. If we're sitting down and taking a lot of impact from the bike, it's actually going to make it harder on us, and we're going to get more fatigued as we're riding. As we learn and develop better skills with being able to stand up while we're riding, and even being able to stand up while we're shifting our gears is just going to take us to the next level, making it so much smoother for us to be able to shift our gears. So whenever you feel like you're mastering your gear shifting, the next step of this is going to be learning how to stand up and master your gear shifting as well. So being able to go through your gears while standing is really going to make it so much smoother for you and really be able to increase your speed when you're dirt bike riding. Rad family, I'm so proud of you for making it to this point in your riding and learning how to perform a proper gear shift every time we go riding. No matter what the situation is, if we're shifting up or shifting down in the gears, this is going to be such an important part of our dirt bike riding, as we're constantly going up through the gears and down through the gears to be in the correct gear when we're riding. If this video helped you perform the proper dirt bike gear shift, make sure you like this video and drop some comments down below and ask me any other questions that you have. Make sure you click the subscribe button that's right here and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future dirt bike riding tips. After that, you can watch my next video right here. Stay rad, and I'll see you over there.